The air on Yeren 6 crackled with heat and the smell of ionized dust. The war had ravaged the once lush planet into a scorched desert scattered with broken machines and bones, both human and alien. Staff Sergeant Lena Morales crouched behind a ridge of shattered duracrete, her pulse steady despite the distant artillery rumbling like a restless god. "Command, this is Raven 3, she spoke into her helmet. "MIC, no enemy movement in Sector 12, but grounds unstable. Suspect active mines." "Copy that, Raven 3, came the reply. "Proceed with caution. Hold position until further orders." Lena exhaled slowly. Caution. It was always caution until someone stepped in the wrong spot and vanished in a red mist. The coalition had mapped out the minefields decades ago, but wars moved fast. Mine markers got blown away, and no one updated the data. She lifted her visor and blinked sweat from her eyes. Her squad had fallen back to base for maintenance checks, but she had insisted on scouting ahead. She told herself it was for reckon. But in truth, she needed a moment alone. War had chipped away at her piece by piece, and lately, she wasn't sure how much of herself remained. Then she saw it. Movement. A flicker of color against the pale sand. Lena focused her scope and froze. A child. Alone. Small, frail, and unmistakably alien. Dusky lavender skin, large luminous eyes, and elongated limbs marked it as Serathi, a native species once allied with humans until politics shattered peace. The child stood in the middle of the minefield. Barefoot. Lena's heart slammed against her ribs. The child wasn't crying, wasn't screaming. Just standing perfectly still, eyes locked on her. She scanned the ground, no safe path, no markers. Just the glint of metallic death waiting under the sand. "Command, this is Raven 3. I've got a live Serathi child in the field." Repeat, a child. Standing right in the middle of the mine zone. Request immediate assistance. Silence. Then, Raven 3, leave the area. That zone's hot. Do not engage. I repeat, do not approach. Lena stared at the child. The girl, yes, she realized it now, it was a little girl, looked no older than 7, had tiny fingers clutched something close to her chest. "Command, with all due respect, I'm not leaving a kid to die out here," she said. "Sergeant Morales, this is a direct order. That minefield is uncharted. We will not risk another body. Do you copy?" Lena's jaw tightened. She clicked off her comm. She knew what the report would say if she obeyed. Enemy offspring encountered in danger zone. Extraction deemed non-viable. One more casualty on a spreadsheet. She couldn't stomach it. With a slow, deliberate breath, she stood. The child watched her silently, not moving. Lena took a step. The sand shifted beneath her boot. Her breath caught, but nothing happened. She took another step. Careful. Deliberate. She mapped each movement in her mind. Not too much pressure. Balance evenly. Old military training on navigating explosive fields flooded back. She moved like a ghost through hell. 10 meters. 20. She counted each heartbeat like a prayer. The child's eyes widened. She stepped back, a tiny motion, and Lena's blood ran cold. "Don't move," she shouted, voice hoarse. "Stay still." The girl froze, trembling. Lena was 20 feet away now. Her legs screamed with tension, sweat poured down her neck, but she kept moving. 1 foot. Then the next. At last, she reached her. The girl stood just a foot tall, maybe 60 pounds. She looked up at Lena with tears in her silver eyes but didn't speak. Just held out her hands. Lena saw what she'd been clutching. A lifeless, battered stuffed animal. A crude fabric lizard, likely her only comfort in a war-torn world. "Hey," Lena whispered, kneeling. "I've got you. Okay. We're gonna go real slow. Can you trust me?" The girl blinked. Then, softly, nodded. Lena lifted her gently, adjusting the weight so it didn't shift her center of gravity. Then she turned. Now came the real test. Every step back carried twice the risk. One wrong shift in weight, and both of them would vanish in fire. She walked. 30 feet. 50. Her left foot landed on something hard, different from sand. Click. She froze. Her gut twisted. She didn't move. Her heart thundered in her ears. It was a pressure mine. Old style. Likely deactivated from exposure. Or maybe not. She shifted her weight to her right leg. Slowly lifted her boot from the pressure point. No explosion. She didn't breathe again until she passed the last marker she remembered. When her foot touched solid duracrete, she collapsed to her knees. She was out. Alive. The child in her arms let out a small gasp, almost a sob. Lena held her tightly. "Command, this is Raven 3, she said, voice shaking. "Child is secure. Send evac to my coordinates." 2 hours later, Lena stood outside the triage tent. Her armor was scuffed, her boots covered in dust, and her muscles trembled with fatigue. But she didn't care. The child, Kira, they'd learned, was being treated. Slight dehydration, minor burns on her feet. But alive. Safe. Colonel Rourke approached with a hard expression. "You disobeyed a direct order." Lena nodded. "Yes, sir." "You put your life and potentially our position at risk." "Yes, sir." "And you saved a child." Lena's eyes met his. "Yes, sir." Rourke was silent for a long moment. Then, almost reluctantly, he sighed. "You'll get a reprimand in your file. But, you also got us our first living Serathi civilian. Intelligence wants to talk to her. She might know where the other survivors are hiding." "I didn't do it for intel," Lena said. "I know. But politics doesn't care why you did it." He turned and walked away. That night, Lena sat beside Kira's cot in the medbay. The girl was asleep, her stuffed lizard curled against her chest. Her breathing was steady now. Lena reached out and gently brushed a strand of silver hair from the girl's face. "You're safe now," she whispered. Kira stirred, mumbled something in Serathi tongue. Lena didn't understand the words, but the tone was clear. It was thank you. She leaned back in the chair, staring at the tent ceiling. The war wasn't over. But tonight, something had changed. A wall had cracked. Maybe it was just a child in a minefield, or maybe it was the beginning of something more. One small act of defiance against a world gone numb. And maybe, just maybe, the first step toward peace.